Peepers, what's going on, man? It's your boy Mike. I know I ain't been on here in like 2 days, man, 2 or 3 days. I went with my wife just to visit her mother over the weekend, and I didn't want to, be doing other things while giving her mother her respected time to see her granddaughter and spend time with us because we don't get to see them that often. So um, just kind of want to let you know why I haven't posted in a while, a couple days. So that's the reason behind that. But today's video, I'm back. Today's video is going to be about a acronym that comes straight out of the Best Friends book. If you don't have a copy of this book, get you a copy. I still got a couple of them left. Get you a copy, and you'll get greater detail about what I'm getting ready to talk about. But it's an acronym in here in relation to raising children that my wife and I coined called CRAFT. Okay, it's called CRAFT. The acronym stands for consistency, okay, reliability, okay, agreement, fairness, and treatment. Okay, CRAFT. Consistency, reliability, agreement, fairness, and treatment. Okay, so when we're talking about consistency, we're dealing with your ability as a parent to be consistent in what you do for your children. Okay, so if you start a routine of every day after school you take your kids to the park, weather pending, then every day after school you need to make sure that you take them to the park because they're expecting that, and they begin to get a tolerance for it. And then when they don't get it, you may see a change in their behavior. They may start acting out, especially if it was an opportunity where they feel like it was a nice day out, we could have went to the park. Because that's something that you've been doing for the past 6 months, and now all of a sudden you stop. So it can cause an issue there. So when you're raising your kids, you want to make sure that what you do, you remain consistent and remain consistent in discipline as well. Okay, don't be inconsistent in your discipline. Today I'm gonna punish you for this, but tomorrow I'm gonna let it slide, because what that does is it confuses your kids and they don't know what they can and can't do. Okay, so be consistent in your discipline, but also be consistent in your time that you spend with them. Be consistent in your rewards that you give them. If you tell them I'm gonna give you an allowance, make sure you're consistent with giving them that allowance every week or 2 weeks, or however you got that set up. Okay, and when we lean over to reliability, you need to make sure that your children feel like you're reliable. Okay, if they don't think they can rely on you, they'll start going to other people for things that they really should be coming to you for. Okay, and this usually comes in part when you tell them that you're going to do something and then you don't do it. Then you don't come through on it. Okay, and I see this all the time with parents who you promise your kids you're going to do things and then you don't do it, and then you wonder why your kid doesn't trust you and you're having issues communicating with your child. Well, part of that is because you continue to give them promises and you don't come through on your promise. Okay, if you tell your children you're going to do something, be reliable so they know that even if my back is against the wall, there's somebody I can rely on. That somebody is my parents. Okay, so that you have reliability there, and then leaning on over to agreement. You and your spouse need to agree on how you're going to raise your children. You have to agree on how you're going to raise your children. You have to agree on how you're going to raise your children, because if you don't, then you'll have one parent saying don't do this, other parents saying it's okay, and then the kid's stuck in the middle like, what do I do? And usually the parent that's allowing the behavior that the child wants to do anyway to happen is going to be the parent that child gravitates to, while making the other parent look like the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have conversations about discipline. Are we going to spank our children, or are we not going to spank our children? Are we going to use a timeout chair, or are we not going to use a timeout chair? Whatever agreement you and your spouse develop in regards to discipline with your kids, and also giving consequences, and also giving positive reinforcements to your children as well. Whatever you come to terms with in regards to that, you have to make sure that you guys agree on it. Because if you don't, it's going to cause a divide in your house. All right? and then leaning on over to fairness, which kind of goes hand in hand with everything else we've talked about, whether that be the consistency, whether that be the reliability, whether that be the agreement. And when you get to fairness, all fairness has to be trended in all of those things. You have to be fair, okay? And you have to do what's developmentally appropriate for your child, okay? If your kid is 1 year old, don't expect them to know how to do, timetables already. Like, give them a chance to be a child. There's nothing wrong with allowing your kid to be a kid. Some things don't require a bunch of discipline, because children are going to be children, and you have to be able to differentiate between when it's necessary to punish you and when it's not necessary, because you're a child and you're going to do things like that. And in this situation, I just need to have a conversation with you, let you know that's not okay. Okay? So that fairness in your treatment has to, if you have more than one child, you have to be fair. You can't do one for one child and then not for the other. Okay? You have to be fair. All right? And treatment is what we're talking about in general. So the way that you treat your children is going to dictate how they respond to you. Okay? Your level of fairness is going to dictate how they respond to you. The ability for you and your spouse to agree is going to dictate how your children respond to you. Okay? Your reliability, moms and dads, is going to dictate how your kids respond to you. Okay? So these things all matter. They all matter. Your consistency, it matters. It matters. So your kids know what to expect from you as their parent. All right? So again, the acronym is called CRAFT. It stands for consistency, reliability, agreement, fairness, and treatment. Okay? So keep those things in mind when you're raising your kids on a day-to-day basis. And again, pick up your copy of the book. If you haven't got a copy of the book, I do have some copies left. Grab a copy of this, man, and it'll bless your life. All right? Love y'all. Peace. It's a blessing to see people